The founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, says he is convinced the United States is preparing to indict him. He's currently fighting legal attempts to send him to Sweden, where 2 women have accused him of sexual assault. He was allowed out on bail because many people he didn't know, including some well-known names, were prepared to put up cash for him. And he's staying, and as a condition of his bail, unable to leave the house of one of his supporters in Norfolk. So exactly why are people prepared to support him? Well, we're joined by 2 well-known journalists who take a rather different view of WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. John Pilger, who's in our radio car, and Janet Daley, who is on the line. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
John Pilger, I understand that you've put up £20,000, or you at least offered to put up £20,000 for his bail. Is that because you support the man, Julian Assange, or what he's doing in WikiLeaks?
Oh, it's because I support a basic principle of justice. It was quite clear to me that Julian Assange was not going to get justice in Sweden, and it was very important that his case was heard properly in this country. So there's that, but there's, of course, the wider issue. Yes, I support, as Jefferson called it, the currency of democracy, the free flow of information. And WikiLeaks has done us all an enormous service this year by telling us really how much of the world is run.
Right, well, before we get on to that, many people might be curious as to why you think he won't get a fair trial in Sweden. They'll be thinking, look, this is quite a separate case, and that perhaps it would be best for WikiLeaks if Julian Assange just went back to Sweden and faced up to the allegations that had been made and proved his innocence there.
Well, he did that. He was there, facing up, knocking on their door, virtually pleading with this director of prosecutions, who reactivated the case, to ask her to tell him what the evidence was against him, to interview him. In the end, he became so frustrated, he left the country. He asked permission to leave the country. He left the country, and he came to this country. Now, you know, for one thing, there is no charge against Julian Assange. When this first arose in August, a duty prosecutor took up the case, and it was immediately leaked to the tabloid press in Sweden. That's another reason why there's no way he'd have a fair trial there. He's had trial by media already. And the director of prosecutions in Sweden threw out the case, saying there was absolutely no evidence in it.
Janet Daley, let me bring Janet Daley in here, because the legal attempts to get him back to Sweden, the whole course of this, it does seem a little bit odd. Do you think it looks suspicious?
The idea of Sweden as some sort of notorious banana republic really doesn't wash. I mean, we've got people saying the most preposterous things, talking about a show trial in this tin pot dictatorship of Sweden. Sweden is a social democratic country. It was so reluctant to get implicated in American foreign policy that it didn't even become a member of NATO until the 1990s. I mean, this bizarre claim now. John Pilger is complaining because things will leak to the tabloid press. I thought that's what WikiLeaks was all about, freedom of information. The fact that the wheels of justice in Sweden ground rather slow, as they do tend to in a lot of liberal democratic countries, means that now he's justified in saying he refuses to be extradited. He's resisting extradition. Sweden has, in fact, a very low conviction rate on rape. I would have thought he had a very good chance of clearing his name if he goes back. This whole thing has become a kind of fantasist conspiracy. It's the last hurrah of the old anti-American left, for whom it is forever 1968.
John Pilger.
It's just about every lurid cliche there, one after the other.
Oh, it's lurid, all right.
I counted 14. I counted 14 and not a single fact.
Yeah, but the central point is that of all the countries to
What's
suggest...
the central point?
Well, the central thrust of the argument seems to be that...
What's she saying?
The one thing is this question of Sweden. I mean, of all the countries... Hold on one second, Janet Daley. John Pilger, of all the countries to suggest that, you know, he's not going to get a fair trial in, Sweden probably isn't, you know, one that you would pick.
No, it's not so. Look, deal with facts, please. Sweden doesn't have a low rape. It has about the same rate of convictions of rape as in this country. So that's about the only fact I could pick up there. But he's not complaining about I'm not complaining that it might be leaked to the tabloid press. He's had the duty prosecutor.
That it was leaked to the tabloid press.
You did, but let's not get hung up on that, because there are wider points here, and perhaps one of them is the.
This is. Let me say this.
Please.
This is largely about media, and what you've set up here is yet another pointless debate that is going to take us nowhere, because there are no facts that Janet Daley has brought
hang
up
on.
here.
Let me take it somewhere. Let me take it somewhere. John and I are both journalists. Do you regard your sources and your confidential communications with your sources as being rightfully secret? Do you keep your sources confidential?
Yes, I keep many of my sources.
Absolutely, so do I.
Let me finish the sentence.
Well, I tell you what, before you...
profession has a right to secrecy, but the diplomatic communications between countries trying to protect their national security doesn't deserve secrecy.
Now, before you answer that, John Pilger, Janet Daley, do you think that the US should... Would you like to see the US try to bring charges against Julian Assange on the basis of...
Well, I'd like to. I mean, it's not a question for me personally.
I know, but do you think what he's done is wrong and should be...
He's committed a crime. He has published stolen classified material. Seems to me there's a perfectly straightforward case for bringing a criminal prosecution against him. But the question that you have to put to these people, the old anti-American brigade that John Pilger so eloquently represents, is would they be defending him? Would they be rallying to his defense if he'd leaked secret communications from China or from Russia? Of course, the question is probably academic because he's dead by now.
John Pilger, can I get you? We've got a minute on this, John Pilger. He hasn't. Well, I mean, it's one of the things, John Pilger.
No, let me speak. Come on.
I do, and I'll give you the final.
Fought each other with words early in the morning, and I'm going to say this: WikiLeaks has. One of the problems that it's brought out has been censorship in China. It has. That's a lot of nonsense.
But his former colleagues have got angry with him that it does seem to have taken an anti-American line.
Look, I must say this. I just made a film about the media. This is exactly what Today does all the time. It sets up a pointless fight in which nobody can say anything about the facts. This is an innocent man until proven guilty. And frankly, your line of questioning is just absurd. You're not interested in facts. What you're interested in is continued to be lied to by governments. And what WikiLeaks has done is intervened in that. Has given us some truth about how great power operates for the first time.
Okay.
Janet Daley has her own position. But the BBC's role in doing this kind of thing is really
just a final thought, John Pilger. On the question of you make the point that there are no facts. Presumably everybody's waiting to see what the United States does here. Do you think it is inevitable that they will bring charges and seek to extradite him, whether from Sweden or the UK?
No, I don't think it's inevitable at all. And I think it's very likely that at the moment the Attorney General in the United States is trying to invent a law by which to prosecute him. Contrary to what Janet Daley said, he has committed no crime in the United States. It is not a crime to do what WikiLeaks has done. They are trying to invent a law. When they finally invent one, which I've no doubt they will, they may then try to extradite him. But that's a long way down the track.
John Pilger, Janet Daley, thank you both.